December 1987. The Sullivan family's dream Christmas turned into a living nightmare in their newly purchased colonial home in rural Vermont. Mark and Linda Sullivan had spent their life savings on this perfect family home, a historic property that real estate agents had struggled to sell for years, though no one would tell them why. 8-year-old Emily Sullivan was the first to notice something was wrong. Her Christmas presents, carefully hidden under her bed, would mysteriously appear on her dresser overnight. Her favorite teddy bear would move from one side of the room to the other. When she told her parents, they dismissed her stories as excitement for Santa. The family's German Shepherd Max refused to enter certain rooms and would stand at the base of the attic stairs, growling at the ceiling until he was physically pulled away. Linda began finding half-eaten food in strange places, behind the washing machine, inside the piano bench, under the Christmas tree. 3 nights before Christmas, the family awoke to Emily's blood-curdling screams. "He's watching me. The attic man is watching me," she shrieked, pointing to her closet where the door slowly closed. Mark grabbed his hunting rifle and searched the house but found nothing, until he noticed muddy boot prints leading to the attic door. Police discovered a sophisticated hiding system within the walls and attic. The attic man had built peepholes into every bedroom, had been stealing food for months, and kept a disturbing journal documenting the family's daily routines. Most chilling of all, photographs of the family sleeping, taken from inside their bedrooms, dated back to before they had even purchased the home. The intruder escaped, but left behind a crudely wrapped Christmas gift addressed to Emily. Inside was a lock of her hair and a note, "I'll be back next Christmas." The Sullivans fled that night, abandoning most of their possessions. Their home remained vacant for 20 years until it was demolished. During demolition, workers discovered human remains in the sealed crawlspace, dating back decades before the Sullivans moved in. 20 years later, Detective Sarah Morrison reopened the case after similar incidents were reported in 3 other New England homes. What connected them wasn't immediately obvious, until she discovered all 4 properties had been sold by the same real estate agency. Morrison's investigation led her to retired agent Harriet Wilkins, who had handled all 4 sales. During their interview, Wilkins appeared nervous, repeatedly glancing at a photograph on her mantel of a young man. "That's my son Peter," she explained. "He died in 1985. Car accident." Morrison noted the date, 2 years before the Sullivan incident. As she left, she noticed Peter's high school yearbook. The photo showed him on the wrestling team, powerfully built with distinctive features, a sharp jawline, and unusually pale blue eyes. Most disturbing was his documentation of experimenting with various poisons, testing them on unsuspecting homeless people he would pick up, offer a holiday meal, and later abandon miles from town after recording their symptoms. The investigation uncovered a hidden room beneath Gordon's study, containing newspaper clippings of unsolved poisoning deaths across 7 states, dating back to 1964. Authorities eventually linked Gordon to 29 cold case murders. But the true horror emerged during Gordon's psychological evaluation. He wasn't dying of cancer. Medical tests showed no evidence of the disease. His doctor confirmed Gordon had been in perfect health, having fabricated the diagnosis as the pretense for gathering his family. When asked why, Gordon replied with disturbing clarity, "Every Christmas, I watched them enjoying their perfect lives, never suspecting what I'd done to build my fortune. I wanted one honest Christmas before I died. I wanted them to finally see who I really am." Gordon died of a stroke 3 months into his prison sentence. In his cell, investigators found hundreds of pages of handwritten notes addressed to Tommy, the sole survivor, with instructions to be opened on his 18th birthday. Tommy, now under protective custody with distant relatives, hasn't spoken since that night. His therapist noted that the antique teddy bear Gordon gave him, the only item Tommy refused to part with, contains a small voice recording device that activates when squeezed. It plays Gordon's voice saying, "Remember, Tommy, you're just like me. You'll understand when you're older." Every Christmas Eve since, Tommy wakes screaming at exactly midnight, telling his guardians he can smell Christmas pudding and hear his grandfather laughing. Those same eyes had been described by Emily Sullivan all those years ago. Further investigation revealed Peter Wilkins hadn't died in 1985. Hospital records showed he had survived the accident, but suffered severe brain damage that transformed his personality. He had been committed to a psychiatric facility after exhibiting increasingly disturbing behavior, only to escape 3 months later. His mother had covered up his escape, telling everyone he had died. Morrison tracked down Emily Sullivan, now a college professor in Arizona, who had legally changed her name. When shown Peter Wilkins' photograph, Emily became physically ill. "That's him," she whispered, "the attic man." The most disturbing revelation came from forensic analysis of the journal found in the Sullivans' attic. Handwriting experts confirmed it matched samples from 6 other unsolved home invasion cases across 3 states. The journal entries revealed an obsession not just with the Sullivans, but with families who had young daughters. The final pages contained floor plans of homes Peter had never invaded, homes he was planning to target next. One entry read, "Families think they're safe in their beds on Christmas Eve. They never look up. They never check the spaces between walls. Their children hear me, but the parents never believe them. This Christmas, I'll take what I deserve, a family of my own." DNA testing of the human remains found during the demolition revealed something no one expected. They belonged to 3 different individuals, all reported missing between 1950 and 1975. Most shocking was the discovery that one set of remains belonged to a young girl who had disappeared on Christmas Eve 1972, the first known victim of what the media now called the Christmas crawler. The case took an unexpected turn when Detective Morrison received a Christmas card at her home address in December 2007. The handwriting matched the attic journal. Inside was a photo of her sleeping in her bedroom, taken from an impossible angle inside her bedroom wall. The note read, "You're getting closer, detective, but I'm already inside." The first card arrived at the Thompson household on December 10, 1974. A seemingly innocent Christmas greeting with a Polaroid photo tucked inside. The image showed their Christmas tree, beautifully decorated. The message, written in careful calligraphy, read, "I love what you've done with the decorations. I get a better view when you're sleeping." Police dismissed it as a disturbing prank. No fingerprints, no evidence of break-in, no leads. The following year, the Miller family received an identical card with a photo of their kitchen table set for Christmas dinner. "I sat in your chair last night while you were at the school play. Your coffee tastes better with 3 sugars, not 2. By 1976, the pattern was clear. The local media dubbed the sender the Christmas card killer, though no murders had occurred yet. Despite increased police presence in the neighborhoods, the cards kept coming. Susan Davidson checked her mail on December 15, 1976, finding a red envelope with no return address. Inside, a photo of her sleeping children and a note reading, "They never wake up when I visit. Do you think they'll wake up for what I have planned for Christmas?" Susan threw the card away, telling her husband Robert it was just another sick joke circulating in the neighborhood. On Christmas morning, the Davidsons' 10-year-old daughter found her parents' bodies. They had been carefully positioned side by side in their bed, hands folded over their chests, with Christmas bows attached to their foreheads. Detective Thomas Mercer, examining the Davidson home, made a chilling discovery. The Christmas tree lights, when plugged in, illuminated a message carved into the wall behind the tree, invisible when the lights were off. "Thank case for Taylor wing Mike Sound away USN." What truly terrified investigators was the forensic evidence. The Davidsons' alarm system had not been triggered. Their dog had not barked. The killer had somehow entered, murdered 2 adults, arranged their bodies and left, all while 2 children slept undisturbed across the hall. 3 more families received cards the following Christmas. All 3 families left town immediately. None were ever harmed. In 1980, Detective Mercer himself received a final card at his home address. Inside was a photo of all the previous cards arranged in a circle. The message simply read, "I'm done playing. Merry Christmas, Detective." Mercer resigned from the force the following day and refused to speak about the case ever again. Ames Weber had directed the Rockwell Community Church Choir for 47 Christmas services. At 67, she was a beloved fixture in the small Minnesota town, known for her perfect pitch and her famous hot chocolate served after every Christmas Eve service. December 23, 2002 brought the season's worst blizzard, when Ames missed the final rehearsal. Pastor Jim Miller and 2 church members trudged through knee-deep snow to check on her. They found her front door unlocked and the house unnaturally cold. "The heat's out," Pastor Jim said, his breath visible in the frigid air. But the thermostat read 72 degrees and the furnace hummed normally. They found Ames at her piano, fingers poised over the keys, completely encased in ice. The sheet music for Carol of the Bells stood open before her, frost patterns spreading across the pages like ghostly fingers. Most disturbing was her expression, wide-eyed terror frozen in time. The responding officers documented the scene in disbelief. The ice encasing Ames was not natural. It contained no air bubbles, was perfectly clear, and didn't melt even when officers brought space heaters into the room. One officer's report, later redacted from official records, noted, "The ice seemed to absorb heat rather than be affected by it." Medical examiners had to use industrial equipment to thaw her body. The autopsy revealed something impossible. Her core body temperature had dropped to -40 degrees while her heart was still beating. Every drop of her blood had crystallized simultaneously. The subsequent ground-penetrating radar survey of the Martinez property revealed a previously unknown cellar beneath the living room. Inside, authorities found 3 sets of human remains in Victorian clothing, sealed in a space barely 5 feet tall. Forensic analysis revealed horrifying details: the scratch marks on the cellar's wooden door, the torn fingernails preserved in the dry air, evidence that one victim had survived for possibly days after entombment. Most disturbing was the discovery that the cellar had been deliberately sealed with concrete poured through a small opening, while the victims were still alive inside. The Martinez family never spent another night in the house, but they returned every Christmas Eve to unlock the front door precisely at midnight and leave 3 place settings at the dining table. Security cameras installed by paranormal researchers have recorded the same 3 figures entering the home each year, sitting at the table for exactly 7 minutes, then vanishing, not walking away, but literally fading from existence on camera. In 2017, Miguel Martinez, now 9, told a documentary crew, "They don't want to scare us. They just want someone to remember that they were real people who never got to have their last Christmas." The Anderson family Christmas of 2019 was supposed to be a bittersweet celebration. 78-year-old Gordon Anderson, successful businessman, philanthropist, and family patriarch, had been diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer. He spared no expense flying his entire extended family to his luxurious mountain estate for what everyone understood would be his final Christmas. The remote Colorado property, accessible only by private road, was Gordon's pride, a stunning timber mansion with panoramic mountain views, heated indoor pool, and a grand dining hall that could seat 30. As a record-breaking blizzard descended on December 23rd, the family felt cocooned in luxury, safe from the outside world. Each family member found personalized gifts waiting in their rooms: vintage watches for the men, heirloom jewelry for the women, cutting-edge gaming consoles for the teenagers. Gordon's youngest grandson, 7-year-old Tommy, received an antique teddy bear that Gordon claimed had been his own as a child. On Christmas Eve, as snow accumulated at 3 inches per hour, Gordon's personal chef prepared a lavish traditional dinner. Just before dessert, the family's traditional Christmas pudding, Gordon rose shakily to his feet, raising his wine glass. "I've kept secrets my entire life," he announced, his voice surprisingly strong. "Tonight, I unburden myself." To family secrets, finally laid to rest, his daughter-in-law Sarah whispered to her husband, "Dad seems almost happy about dying." By 10 p.m., the first symptoms began, mild at first: headaches, dizziness, then vomiting, paralysis, seizures. By midnight, 11 Anderson family members lay dead or dying. Only Tommy survived, having refused the pudding because he was too excited to play with his new teddy bear. From his wheelchair, Gordon watched impassively, methodically recording observations in a leather-bound journal. When his son James begged for help with his final breath, Gordon simply replied, "I've been waiting 52 years for this moment." The rescue team, battling through the blizzard after Tommy managed to call 911, found a scene of unimaginable horror. The family's bodies were arranged around the Christmas tree in a macabre tableau, each corpse wearing a Santa hat. Gordon sat among them, calmly waiting, the journal open on his lap. The journal revealed a lifetime of calculated murder. Gordon's wife hadn't died of cancer in 1967. He had systematically poisoned her after discovering her affair with his brother. His brother's hiking accident 3 months later was staged. Over 5 decades, Gordon had eliminated 17 people who threatened to expose him, including business partners, a blackmailing housekeeper, and a suspicious detective. During the investigation, Church Secretary Meredith Palmer made a startling connection. "It's the anniversary," she whispered to detectives. 50 years exactly. On December 23, 1952, during the church's Christmas pageant, 8-year-old Lily Patterson had vanished without a trace while playing an angel in the nativity scene. Agnes, then a teenager, had been responsible for watching the children backstage. In Agnes's basement, detectives found hundreds of newspaper clippings about Lily's disappearance and a child-sized angel costume preserved in plastic. Behind a false wall, they discovered a small tape recorder set to play at precisely midnight on Christmas Eve. The tape contained a loop recording of a child singing Carol of the Bells. The most chilling evidence came from Agnes's journal, where her final entry read, "She's back. I hear her singing every night now. The temperature drops when she starts. She says she'll take me to where she's been waiting all these years. She says it's so cold there." 3 police officers involved in the investigation resigned within a month. The medical examiner who performed Agnes's autopsy was committed to a psychiatric facility after repeatedly insisting that when he cut into her chest cavity, he heard a child laughing. Agnes's home remains abandoned. Every Christmas Eve, despite having no electricity, the lights in the front window illuminate for exactly 1 hour, and neighbors report hearing the faint melody of Carol of the Bells playing inside. The Martinez family had fallen in love with the historic Victorian home in suburban Dallas the moment they saw it. The real estate agent mentioned its colorful history, but emphasized the incredible price, nearly half the market value. Elena Martinez, 7 months pregnant with their second child, envisioned perfect Christmas celebrations in the elegant formal dining room. They moved in November 2013, just in time to decorate for the holidays. 5-year-old Miguel began talking about the sad people in old clothes he saw watching him from the garden. His parents attributed his stories to an overactive imagination stimulated by the antique photographs of previous owners still hanging in the hallway. On December 20, their security system triggered 3 times between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. Each time, Carlos Martinez found nothing amiss, though the motion sensors specifically indicated movement on the front porch. On Christmas Eve, Miguel refused to sleep in his room, insisting the whispering people wanted him to dig in the basement. Elena finally allowed him to sleep in their room after finding him trying to pry up floorboards with his toy shovel. At exactly midnight, all electronic devices in the house failed simultaneously: phones, lights, even battery-powered toys. The security camera on their doorbell captured the moment: 3 figures in Victorian clothing approaching the front door in perfect synchronicity, their faces unnaturally pale and gaunt. They didn't walk so much as glide, leaving no footprints in the fresh frost on the lawn. For exactly 7 minutes, they stood motionless, staring directly into the camera. Then, in unison, they turned and walked away, disappearing from view. The footage became a viral sensation, analyzed by paranormal experts worldwide. Most dismissed it as an elaborate hoax, until forensic video analysts confirmed the footage hadn't been tampered with. What truly unsettled investigators was the temperature reading from the doorbell camera. During the 7 minutes the figure stood there, the ambient temperature dropped from 40 degrees Fahrenheit to -5 degrees Fahrenheit, rising immediately after they disappeared. Elderly neighbor Dorothy Blackwood recognized the figures immediately as the Douglas siblings, Walter, Richard, and Elizabeth, who had allegedly perished in a Christmas Eve house fire in 1897. But that was never the truth. Mrs. Blackwood confided to a local reporter, "My grandmother was their maid. She always said there was no fire. They just vanished."